Hello and welcome to Kiss My A's. My name is Emma Cownley. I'm a freelance copywriter and I'd like to welcome you to a brand new year.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I thought I would kick things off by handing the baton over to you guys and just answering some of the questions that you have been asking me over the course of the last year about being a freelancer, freelance writing, all the ins and outs, shit like that. So I trawled back through all of my emails, my DMs on Twitter, my comments here on YouTube, just to amalgamate everything that you've been asking. And I'm going to go through them one by one. There's like 6 or 7 questions here. And I'm going to give you my wisdom on it in one video rather than in tiny little bitty pieces. Before we get into it, I'd like to remind you to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and also to hit the subscribe button just to follow along with me as I publish videos. You'll get notified every time something new comes out, and you can help to support me in a nice and meaningful way, because numbers really do matter. First question I get asked is, how do I get into a work mode when I'm at home all the time? It seems that people who work in a shared office space or maybe work in-house with clients don't really understand how you can make the distinction from being at home and working at home. And that's really easy. I've made a video on it which I'll link for you up here if you want to hear me really delve into the topic. But the long and the short of the matter is, you need to keep to a proper working day schedule. You need to set your alarm every morning, get up at the same time, shower, dress yourself, put on deodorant, a little bit of makeup if that's your fancy, go out for your morning walk or whatever, come in, sit down at a dedicated working space, not on your couch, not in your bed, not anywhere that you mentally associate with recreation. You have to make a separate space. So every time you sit in that chair, in that position, or at that table, you're thinking, all right, now I'm at work. It's a kind of a psychological connection that you make every time that you're in a certain space. We associate it with different things. So it's important to make that distinction. This space is for work. This space is for recreation. So that's why I always like to do. Keep a schedule, make sure that I'm getting myself ready as if I was going to the office, and make sure that I have a dedicated working space. But of course there are all sorts of other little microcosms which you can find in the video that I linked, and I'll pop it down there in the description as well, just in case you missed it. Second question, and this is a big one: how do I know what to charge? I've made an entire video on this, which you can find up there. It's one of my most successful videos of all time because I get asked this question a fuck ton. The way I started out figuring out what my rates were going to be was I took the salary that I had when I was working in a permanent position and I broke it down. What would that be per day? What would that be per hour? And I kind of used that, does this feel comfortable? Does it feel fair? Am I happy to work for these rates? And then that's what I used as a starting point. Going forward, I've been relying on the ProCopywriters annual survey. You can find it on their website. I'll link it for you below. But it just goes through, they survey all of the freelance writers, well, as many as they can, in the UK, and everyone gives feedback on what they're charging, and they kind of break it down per age, per gender, per, whether you're in-house or working with an agency or freelance. So you can get a really good thorough picture of what everyone else is charging, and then you can kind of benchmark yourself against that. I think the current day rate on average for a UK freelance writer is about £349. So that gives you a nice little benchmark to make sure that you're not undercharging compared to your peers, and it helps you kind of settle yourself and feel like this feels fair. Question number 3, a tangent to question number 2: why shouldn't I charge per word? Oh my god, why? So here's the thing. Think about the amazing strapline for Nike. Just do it. That's 3 words. Can you imagine how long it took to create that? It probably took weeks, months of brainstorming, of kind of interviewing like customers, people within the company, really coming up with something amazing that symbolized the brand and was just incredibly powerful and catchy. There's there's the helicopter. All right. Sick. Also things like PPC ads, they take forever because they're so short and concise. Headlines, they take forever. The shortest copy is the hardest copy to write. It takes an incredible amount of time, especially if it's something that needs to have a really, really big impact. It needs to grab people, it needs to draw them in straight away, it needs to communicate an entire idea in 3 or 4 words. If you're charging per word, £1 per word, I mean, fucking hell, you'd have made less than a fiver for the Nike strapline. Do you get where I'm coming from? I don't think that it's per word. And also, as a writer, you're bringing your expertise. You're always ruminating on an idea and kind of bring it over in your mind. You have to do a ton of research to make sure that you're really creating something targeted and perfect. And all that takes a hell of a lot of time outside of just the words that you are delivering at the end of the day. It's an incredibly time-consuming process to write good copy that is short. So that's one reason. Don't be a dick, PC. Oh, fucking. Also, I like to charge project fees which encapsulate a lot of extra things which are unique to each project. So if somebody will take a little bit more care and attention than somebody else, that fee is going to be higher. If I think that we're going to be up against really short deadlines, I'll put a premium on that because I have a lot of other clients to work with, and if you're giving me really, really tight deadlines or coming in last minute, you know, I have to account for that. It needs to be worth my while if I'm going to shunt everybody else to the side. Just there's a lot of extra factors that you want to work into that project fee, and each project fee will be different. So again, if you're just charging by word, you're really fucking yourself in the arse. I'm pretty sure that YouTube is gonna just hate on this video for me saying that, but I mean, I like to tell it how it is, and you're getting butt fucked when you charge per word. So that's why you don't charge per word. Well, I mean, you can do whatever you want, babe. You can 100% do whatever you want. If that's how you feel comfortable to charge, that's how you've always done it, you're happy, you don't care, do it that way. Do it that way. You know, it's each to their own. But for me, it's not right. And a lot of other writers that I speak to would also say that's not the most cost-effective way of making money as a business. So think about it. That's all I ask. Question number 4. Which courses are best to take? I'm not really the best person to ask about this. I've only done two courses. One was with Tim Fidgen. He does free seminars or webinars with ProCopywriters very frequently. He was really, really wicked. I thought he was great. He likes Doctor Who, which was a big bonus for me as a student because I can't really listen to someone who's got shit opinions, and anyone who likes Doctor Who has got good opinions. I've also been a student of Andy Maslin's. If you know anything about the UK copywriting industry, you will have heard of Andy Maslin, and if you haven't, sort yourself out. So I'm an Andy Maslin student. There are a couple of us knocking around on the internet. He's amazing. I don't think he's teaching at the moment, but he will always recommend anybody that asks him about him doing courses and teaching, he will always recommend one of his books. He says, anything that you can learn from me in person, you can learn from those books. I've put it all in there. So you can find him on Amazon. You can find his books anywhere. Just do a good little search and you're bound to find something by him. So I've been to Tim Fidgen's course, I've been to Andy Maslin's course. I also every year go to the ProCopywriters CopyCon. This is not an advert for ProCopywriters, I swear. I'm not sponsored by them. They don't pay me. They don't ask me to say any of these things. It's just they're the best resource that I have found. And I've found a lot of other writers through that resource. So if you're not following them on Twitter, or you're not a member of their site, or you've never heard of them, or you've never read any of their blog posts, you need to get yourself over there, because you will find a lot of the answers to the questions you're asking me already on their site. So I would say probably books over training has been best for me, but I do like to make sure that I am getting out there at least once a year to chat with other freelance writers and get a good feel for what they're up to, the approaches they like to take. You can learn a lot just by talking to your peers. So that's another great thing to do, blog posts, all sorts of things. You don't necessarily have to shell out big bucks for a really expensive course to learn these things. The information is out there already, so it's up to you. That's basically the answer to that question. It's up to you. Very helpful. Question 5. What is the best way to set up a freelance website? I'm not sure why I get asked this. Because I suck at technology and everything affiliated with technology. If I touch it and it's got moving parts inside, it's broken instantly. So, or maybe that's why you asked me, actually, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. Oh, a fair one. So in my time, I've used 2 different platforms for my freelance website. I started on WordPress back in my very, very first website, and it was fine. It didn't really have the functionality that I wanted, and I didn't have the technical know-how to learn how to use it properly. And it was a magnet for spam. It was a spam magnet. If you're a little bit clever, I think that WordPress is a really good way to go. I'm not that clever. So last year, I reverted to Squarespace, and now I'm able to kind of control all the design elements myself and tweak things all the time. I find the analytics on it very, very helpful. I can see who's coming from where and the journey that they're taking, and switch out images. It's got the blog functionality that I wanted, which is really important for me because I create a lot of content very regularly, and I like to have it all nice, you know? I like it to look nice. So those are the only 2 that I've ever used. If you'd like to know like an in-depth talk through of how to set that up and how to optimize it, Jordan McKell has done, I think she's done a video and a blog post on setting up a freelance portfolio site. I will link to it below so that you can go in and look at that. I've looked at it, found it very helpful. I think it looks like a very successful piece of content, so a lot of people must be reading it and finding it helpful. Go check it out if you want to. But yeah, I use Squarespace, used to use WordPress. For me, Squarespace is the best option. Ask around, see. Question 6. Is it better to specialise? I've had a fair few people ask me about this, which is why I've actually made a video on it already. The pros and cons of each, because there are a lot of pros and cons for each. So really, I'm going to have to say that the answer really lies with you, because there are benefits and drawbacks to each option. If you niche yourself right down, it means that you are only working on the stuff you really, really want to work on, which can only be a good thing. It also means that you're able to optimize your website, your LinkedIn profile, your social media accounts to really, really target people that are searching for exactly what you do. You can target your entire portfolio, all the content you create on your blog, and just really make yourself look like an absolute expert at that one specific thing. And you will rake in business because it looks like you are the person to go to for that thing. On the flip side, if you choose not to specialise, you can write whatever you want, whatever format, whatever sector. You know, you're kind of keeping your options open and are able to work on everything that comes your way, which is really nice sometimes. So in the beginning, if you're really, really worried about getting work, maybe you want to stay general for a while. I started out writing for everything, and then after a couple of years, I figured out what I really, really like to do, and I niched myself right down. Now, that doesn't mean that I still don't get offers from other sectors and other types of work, and I can make the call at the time whether or not I want to do those, but I tend to focus on one little niche area only. So if you're debating that, go watch the video, find out, kind of ask yourself honest questions about what you want to do, and go from there. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thanks for sticking with me, assuming you have, but analytics on YouTube tells me you've probably not, and you dropped off after 4 minutes. So if you are here with me right now at the end of the video, you're special. You're special to me, and I love you for it. Thanks. If you've got any questions about anything I have talked about here today, you can leave me a comment in the comment section below, or you can find me on Twitter at EJCownley, and I can chat with you there. Otherwise, I'll see you back here, same time, same place, in 2 weeks for more Kiss My A's. Until then, take care, have a great fortnight, peace out.